Rail construction. So we've talked about the threads of a paddleboard and how important they are. Now we're going to talk about the rail, which is actually the edge of your board, and how important this is as well. This is most probably almost as important as the threads inside. It's definitely the second most important part. What we'll do is we'll start about the top way of making a rail construction, the best way, and that is, so you've got your drop stitch, that's all held together nicely, all the pressure's been pulled on. So what you need to do to make a really good premium paddleboard that takes 20 psi pressure, to bring the top and bottom layers around in the middle, and then we glue on one layer of PVC, and then we glue on another layer of PVC. That rail construction then is super solid. Gives you a really nice shape to the board. When you look at your board, you've got a very narrow rail, but no gap in there, so these two layers of PVC can actually be quite narrow. It allows the board to be rigid and take high pressure. Up to 26 recommended. Most boards will pump to 20 and have a high rating for expansion in the sun. The second way to make a paddleboard, slightly cheaper, is to take the two layers we've just discussed, bend them in the same way, but you'll leave about an inch gap in between the two layers, and then your two PVC layers are glued across the top. A little bit like the second board on the rail down here. What that does is it still gives you a premium double rail. It's nice and strong, and there's very little PVC exposed to the internal pressure. And then a lot of the cheap brands will just take their PVC, they'll go, there you go, thank you very much, that's our paddleboard, and we'll glue two layers of PVC right across the width of the board. When you do this, there's a huge amount of PVC exposed to the pressure of the board inside. Now, when they first arrive, that's fine, the boards look good, they've got a nice square look to them. We're obviously not a nice C shape like you'll see in these top two boards here. And that PVC is the only thing that's holding all the pressure in. So most of those brands will say 11 to maximum 15 psi because they can't put all that pressure into that material. So we close that up on the premium rails, much stronger to take 20 psi. Now the PVC rails that you glue on, again, they can be one layer, they can be two layers, they could be a very thin PVC, they could be a thick PVC. So the thicker the PVC, the stronger that board's going to be. If you glue two layers of cheap PVC onto that board and then kind of pump it up to 15 psi, expose it to sunshine, go outside on it, jump up and down, there is the potential for that PVC to stretch. When that PVC then stretches, your board becomes misshapen. So it's not the fact that you might buy a paddleboard and that's what it looks like, it turns up, it looks okay, but over time we're noticing these boards degrade much faster than a board with a premium rail. And that is just down to the fact that there is nothing holding it together. It is two pieces of PVC, drop stitch material with two bits of PVC glued across the top. The reason for doing this is pretty much cost. You take this material, it's one of the most expensive parts of making a paddleboard, and if you're going to make a paddleboard, let's say 30 inches wide. So cheap brand, take your board, cut the material to 30 inches wide, stick the rail around it, you've used 30 inches of material. If you take a premium brand, let's say, and it's maybe a 6-inch thick touring board, you're going to need an extra 3 inches of material there, 3 inches of material there, and the same on the other side. That's 12 inches of material in total to make the same width paddleboard. So you're using pretty much a third more material on the board to make a premium rail than you are a cheap board. And that's why they cut the materials down to absolute minimum and rely on cheap PVC to hold it together. So we've already delved into the rail edge, single, double, triple rail edge. So I just want to quickly go over kind of gluing and welding. We could spend far too long on this talking about gluing and welding. The most important thing really is to look at the brand and what they're offering and what they're saying to your board can take. If you've got a premium rail with premium glue, it's going to be an 18 to 20 psi recommended pressure, which means that they're confident with their gluing and their manufacturing techniques. If the board is 10 to 15 psi with a lower grade rail, lower grade glue, it really does just show that the manufacturers are worried about the construction and the kind of quality of the materials and the rail gluing as a whole thing really. Pressure is key, it's one of the most important things about paddleboarding. Stiff paddleboards go forwards, they do not bend.